In episode 43, I'm joined by slugger Brian O'Grady. The Philly native discusses his road to Gastonia in the Lefty with Brotherly Love. Our guest today is from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, attended Rutgers University, drafted by the Cincinnati Reds in 2014, played in the big leagues for the Reds, Rays, and Padres, and currently the first baseman for the Gastonia Ghost Peppers. I know a guy, and his name is Brian O'Grady. Brian, how's it going?
It's going well, man. I appreciate you having me on. Looking forward to talking to you.
Looking forward to talking to you as well. Brian, fantastic start to the season with Gastonia. You're hitting .342, 444 on base, 658 slug. That's over an 1100 OPS. What's going right for you at the plate right now?
Man, before I came here, I was pretty much retired, and I didn't touch a bat for about 8 months. So I think that helped me kind of reset and get back to what I do naturally. So that's part of it. And then the other part is mentally, I've just kind of figured out how to make it about me and not about the pitcher. When I go in there now, I like to think about it as me versus myself. It doesn't matter who's on the mound. As long as I do what I do, I'll take my chances in there. And I'm having fun. There's a great group of dudes here, and I've just been really enjoying it. So all that put together, those numbers are pretty good.
Those numbers are one thing. A great start is one thing. You've reached base safely in all 32 games you've played. And, of course, I'm not trying to jinx anything, but all 32 games you've reached base safely. Is that something you were aware of?
My dad made me aware probably around the 21st game or so. He said something, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I didn't really think about it, but I kind of knew when he said it. And it's a product of everything out there. Obviously, I want to get on base. That's the goal, whether that's a walk or a hit. So hopefully, can just keep it rolling.
When you're on a streak like that, how does it work? Is it always in the back of your mind? Do you think about it going into each game, and then when you get up to the plate, it just disappears? How does it really work when it comes to thinking about that?
To be perfectly honest, yes, it's in the back of my mind. But again, when I'm in the box, I'm not worried about the streak. It's going to come to an end at some point, whether that's tonight or game 100 or whatever it is. But it definitely is nice when I get a hit or walk my first at bat, and I'm like, all right, well, that's out of the way. We don't got to think about that. But no, I'm trying to win the game, and I'm just trying to play well.
It will come to an end at some point, obviously. Currently, the longest active streak in the league. Brian, you've gotten off to a great start against lefties, also in addition to righties. What is it for you that you're able to hit lefties so well as a lefty slugger?
Yeah, I think it's kind of 2 or 3 different parts. Coming up through the minors, I always hit against lefties. It wasn't like a platoon or anything like that, and I always hit well against lefties. So I have plenty of experience off lefties, for one. For two, myself, when it's a lefty, I kind of try to do a little bit less, even more so in there. So I think my swing's just a little bit better, honestly, because I'm really just not trying to do too much. And then the third part is I've gotten more of it recently, but typically lefties only throw you fastball, sliders or curveballs. So it's really, if you see spin, it's moving away from you. If it's not spinning, it's a fastball. They don't really throw you changeups. So where I'm looking for the ball to start, it kind of makes it a little more simpler than righties because they can kind of, go change up or slider. I'm kind of 3 different directions there. So I think lefties, it's if you know where you're looking, it's a little more simple too.
Would it make it more difficult on you if they threw changeups? Hopefully, of course, they're not listening, but I'm just wondering.
I've gotten a few of them actually recently. So it's a little more difficult when they're in the zone or close. The other game when we were playing High Point, when I hit that fair homer, they called foul, and then the infield single was a changeup after that, and I was like, there it was. Like they did it, And I've told our lefties or even righties, like, that's a great pitch, left on left or right on right, just if nothing else to put it in the batter's mind that you will possibly do it because it's just another option to have to cover.
Brian, you were drafted by the Reds in 2014. How was that entire experience for you getting drafted?
Man, it was awesome. It was a dream come true, obviously. Sitting on my parents' couch, and it was just a day that I'll never forget, for sure.
Played in the big leagues for the Reds, the Rays, and the Padres. What were the big differences you saw between three organizations?
Oh, that's a good question. Coming up with the Reds, that was all I knew. And it's kind of weird at first when you change organizations like that. I made it up there with them and got DFA'd and traded to the Rays after the season. And, that was the first time. And I was kind of like, what? How's this work? It was strange. But the Rays were unbelievable, communication-wise, and just they really want guys to be themselves there. And I think that's why they're so successful with, everyone knows about their payroll restrictions and things like that. So I think that's why they're a great organization. The Reds were great too. That was all I knew coming up. There's a lot of really good people in there. I think now it's a whole lot different than when I was there. Different people, different philosophies, but I enjoyed my time there a ton too. San Diego was great too. That team obviously had some superstars on it and were very good. And, it was a lot of fun being there in San Diego. That season was kind of tough for me mentally, just bouncing up and down so much. Being in a hotel literally all year gets pretty old. But they're all, all the organizations I've been with have been great. I've enjoyed my time there. I don't really have anything bad to say about any of them. I would say the one thing, like I said with the Rays, their communication probably stood out most to me as something that was a little bit different from the Reds or Padres. They just were like over-the-top communication, which as a player is really all you can ask for. At least you know exactly where you stand.
Favorite park? Favorite MLB park you've played in? What do you think?
Petco, San Diego. It's just aesthetically, I just think it's beautiful. I remember standing in the dugout with Joe Musgrove the one night, who's a San Diego guy, and just like looking around and be like, man, this is really like a beautiful park. And he was like, dude, it really is. And so from that standpoint, I think Petco. But obviously, like Wrigley was really cool because it's Wrigley. Fenway was cool because it's Fenway. There's a lot of good ones, but I think, Petco's my top.
You've also played at Petco a lot more than those parks. So
Very true.
What is the toughest pitcher you've ever faced? I've never asked this question. I've always wanted to. I'm finally asking it. I think it's a great question. It's basic, but it's a great question, I think. Toughest pitcher you've ever faced?
We were just talking about this the other day in the clubhouse, and I've gotten to face some really good ones. I've pinch hit against Scherzer, DeGrom, Yu Darvish. Probably in game was the toughest 3 at-bats that I had when he was in Chicago and I was in Cincinnati. He struck me out twice and broke my bat into about 1 million pieces on the third one. So I'd probably have to give it to you from a strictly in-game standpoint. But, DeGrom was unbelievable. Scherzer was really good. I faced Strasburg in spring training right after they won. He was pretty good. But there's a ton, man. But, I think that game against you kind of stands out more than any of them.
His stuff just A+ that game?
Yeah, so I was hitting like 7th, and back then he threw a slider a lot. And we were sitting on the slider, the first 5 hitters. I think we put up like 3 runs. And the pitching coach went out there after the 5th batter, I think, and he started mixing it up. And I think he struck out 9 of us in a row. And, using everything, all of his pitches. And, when he was throwing, 97 at the top of the zone with the splitter and everything else too, it was pretty tough.
You faced a lot of tough pitchers. One of those being Shohei Ohtani. Is it true you went 2 for 2 against him in a spring training game?
That is true. That's my claim to fame. Ohtani, obviously, very, very good too. I got him that day a little bit. The first one was a triple down the first base line, and Albert Pujols was playing first base, and it was towards the end of his career, so he wasn't moving great over at first. So if it was somebody else, maybe it wouldn't have been a triple, but in the books, it's a triple. And then, he threw me a fastball down and in second at bat, and I hit it good. And but obviously, he's incredible. The best part about that game that I remember was he led off too. So I was playing center field, and he leads off. He hits a ball about 115 off the wall in left field, and he hit it so hard that I'm yelling at our left fielder, like 2-2-2, like you might have a shot at him. And I turn around and look, and he was like 2 steps from second base already. I'm like, oh my gosh, this dude is out of control, just flying.
He's pretty good.
Yeah,
He's pretty
he is.
Good. We have a segment on this podcast called Cool Connections, whether it's a household name, whether it's someone like an Albert Pujols or anyone who's helped you along your big league journey or your baseball journey. What is a cool connection you could name?
Wow, that's a good question. Man, there's been so many people along the way who have helped me. I could go a lot of different directions with this, but I think that the one guy who made the biggest impact on my career was Barry Larkin. He was a rover when I was with the Reds, and he always believed in me, even when I was kind of struggling in the lower levels. But when I kind of turned my career around in Double-A and took off, it was a cage session with him that turned everything around and sent me on my way. So I would have to say Barry is probably that connection for me.
You've made plenty of connections. We talked in the clubhouse about this one time. You knew Narciso Crook before you got here. How cool is it to see familiar faces later on?
It's awesome, man. I mean, Crook, I think he was honestly the second guy I met after I got drafted by the Reds and flew out to Arizona. He's from Trenton, which is not far from Philly, so we had the same scout and things like that. So we had some connections before that, but yeah, came all the way up, basically every level with him with the Reds. So we've been friends for a long, long time. And honestly, he's probably the number one reason why I'm here in Gastonia right now, because when I was thinking about coming to play somewhere, Gastonia was the closest team to home for me, and I knew he was here. So I texted him, and he talked to Brady about 5 minutes later, and Brady texted me right after, and here we are. So I'm very thankful for Crook.
Narciso, the recruiter.
Yeah, no, he was on. He was like, dude, I'll talk to the GM right now. I'm like, all right. And, yeah, here we are. So he's the best.
You've played in Japan and Korea. How were those experiences?
Incredible. Japan was awesome. They love baseball over there. The competition level is very, very high. I think it's for an American hitter or Spanish hitter, it's tough to hit over there because the style of pitching is just so different, the splitters and just kind of how they do everything. So it's really tough for us over there, but I had a great time. It was a great experience. I think it helped me a lot as a hitter over there in Japan. And then Korea, Korea was a good experience. Korea was awesome. I, like an idiot, the offseason before I went, tried to totally overhaul my swing. And it did not work out very well. So I didn't play particularly good in Korea. But going through those struggles over there definitely helped me, just it makes everything else easier here, to go through something like that bad over there and feel pretty alone doing it.
Did you make changes on your swing because you were trying to do all those incredible bat flips that you saw in the KBO back in 2020?
Their bat flips are I don't know how they do it, man. Like, I guess they just grow up knowing that. Like, I can't – if I hit a homer, I can't just do it. Like, it's amazing. But they throw some good ones over there, there's no doubt.
2024 was a banner year for you. 24 homers, 78 RBIs in the American Association a season ago. What went right for you last year that helped you get momentum for 2025?
I think Cleburne was just it was a great setup. I really enjoyed the manager over there, Pete Incaviglia, who's played in the big leagues for a long, long time. Me and him, we're very, very close. So having him, just kind of in my corner, let me play and believing in me. And Rudy Jaramillo was a big league hitting coach for the Rangers and the Astros. He was our hitting coach over there too. He would come at home. So working with him was fun, and I enjoyed it for a long time. Just the guys, and we had a good group, and it was just fun. But I kind of, you didn't throw the average in there, and I don't know exactly what it is, but it wasn't great. I kind of mentally let myself slip off a little bit over there, but from a power perspective and driving in runs, it was definitely a very productive year for me.
How much mental power do you have to put into hitting on a daily basis? I feel like everyone talks about how it's failure, 30% success rate, you're a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. So how easy is it to drift away mentally, and how much focus do you really have to put day in and day out to make sure you're locked in?
It's super easy to just drift off when you're not getting results, because yeah, you're going to suck in this game a lot more than you're good as a hitter. And like you said, the best are failing 7 out of 10 times. So I think it's hitting to me at this level is more mental than physical. If you're not confident going in there, you really don't have a chance. And if you're letting, outs bring you down, you're not going to have a chance. So it's just finding those ways to see the positives in whatever you're doing. Just keeps you going, and we have too many at bats. You can't be, riding that roller coaster constantly, and I have plenty of times, but I've done a good job of it here to just kind of, each at bat's different and just do my thing and not be too high, not be too low.
Second half just started here for Gastonia. You went 11-5 to end the first half, won the first game in the second half. Do you feel like things are potentially turning around for this team, vibes in the clubhouse?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're too talented to not win games, quite honestly. It was funny because even when, I first got here and we weren't playing great as a team, the vibes in the clubhouse were always great. And I was saying that to everybody. I'm like, I've been on 2 indie ball teams so far in Kansas City. We won the championship, and we were way better than everybody else in that league. In Cleburne, we finished in first too, and I think the clubhouse from a vibe standpoint here was better than both of those places. So it wasn't making a lot of sense to me, but sometimes it just pitch and throws well one day, and the hitters don't hit that day, and then the hitters kill the ball, and the pitching struggles that day. It just you don't sync up. So the second half, I think we're going to roll, and definitely expect to be in the playoffs.
We have a Pep Talk segment on this podcast. What's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
Man, I think generally speaking, it's just like believe in yourself, honestly. The story for me is back in college. It was my junior year, and I was struggling, and I was supposed to get drafted, blah blah blah. And my dad never texted back then, and he texted me basically saying, believe in yourself. You're the only one who can stop you. And it totally turned around my season. And, I think if you can just always believe that, you're going to figure it out and have kind of a positive attitude, that's the best thing you can do for yourself.
Brian, I see you sometimes go on the fields with your kids. That's got to be the best feeling in the world, right?
Man, that was there's nothing like it, I don't know how much they'll remember, but me and my wife will, and the pictures and videos, man, show them when they're older. And thankfully we have YouTube now, so I can show them my good stuff that I was cool back in the day. But they're the best. There's nothing better than being a dad, and the perspective, it helps. This game, we're playing games, at the end of the day, I want to be really good. I care about this a lot, but as long as I got them, I'm all good.
How old are they?
My daughter is 3, my son's 1.
They going to be athletes?
I think so. We'll see. They seem to like, that kind of stuff now, so we'll see what happens as they get older, man. But, I'm all for them being active and having fun. If they don't like baseball, or they can do whatever they want. They just need to be active and have some fun with it, and that's all I care about.
I'm sure you had some fun with your Philadelphia Eagles winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Late congratulations.
Thank you.
You're a big Philly fan in general, or just specifically Eagles?
No, I grew up diehard Philly, everything, Sixers, Flyers, Eagles, Phillies. Phillies won the World Series when I was a sophomore or junior in high school, 2008. That was awesome. Watch that happen. Eagles, we've been lucky recently. We won the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and then this year, and it's just fun to watch. It was I would have been happy to watch anybody beat the Chiefs last year, but to watch the Eagles dismantle them the way they did was pretty awesome.
It wasn't even close. I was shocked.
I wanted to watch it by myself, in my living room, and my wife invited a bunch of people over, and I was like, you better hope that they're winning, because if they're not, I'm not going to be too happy. And I was still nervous until the Devontae Smith touchdown. Once that happened, I was like, wow, they're going to do it. This is it.
Geno's or Pats?
Between the two, I would go with Pats. I think as a Philly guy, they're those are kind of the touristy spots that, you go when you go to visit. But there's a lot of other places that have better cheesesteaks, in my opinion, in
Than
Philadelphia.
those two?
Yes.
Ooh, do
Yep.
tell.
Jim's is really good. Jim's is popular, but Jim's is definitely up there. My personal favorite is a little dive bar near my parents' house, just outside of Philly. It's called Reese's. I've spent a lot of money in Reese's over my life on cheesesteaks.
So you can get a plethora of cheesesteaks all over Philly, not just at Geno's or Pat's.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you can't really go wrong. They're all going to be pretty good, but Pat's and Geno's are definitely just the most famous kind of tourist spots for sure.
As someone from Philadelphia, did you grow up on the Rocky movies? Is it something where like Rocky was an actual real life hero to you because you're from Philly?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people like that in Philly. I loved Rocky, still do. I think it's just the the spirit he embodies that Philly loves, kind of the underdog, tough, hard worker, like blue collar. That's what Philadelphia is, and Rocky just kind of perfectly encapsulates that in the movie.
Are you more of a movie or TV show guy?
Probably TV show.
Okay. Why is it just easier for you to section it off, 30 minutes here, maybe an hour here, instead of sitting down for a whole 2.5 hour movie kind of thing?
Yeah, I'd say so, especially like you said with kids, back home, it's tough to have the TV to yourself for 2 hours or whatever, but I love both. I just think like the series, getting into something for an extended period of time is kind of up my alley.
We have a question from a fan named Jackie, and she wants to know your favorite TV show actor.
Oh.
Favorite TV actor?
My favorite series is Peaky Blinders for sure. I guess it's technically not TV, but
No, it's TV.
If I'm going with that, then Cillian Murphy is Thomas Shelby in that, and he's incredible. So I would have to go with him.
Oppenheimer fan?
I actually still have not seen Oppenheimer. I need to, but I heard he won the best actor
best
or what?
actor.
Yeah. So I'm sure he's awesome. I love watching him, and he's in a bunch of stuff. But so I'm sure Oppenheimer he's phenomenal in too.
Gotta watch it when you get a chance.
Definitely.
If you could implement a rule change in baseball, I can give you time to think on this one as well. If you could implement a rule change in baseball, of course you could include hitter bias in this. What would it be?
I honestly like the strike zone challenge system that they're already doing in some of the minor leagues. I think that's a good balance between, when it's an important call, you can challenge it if you really disagree. But also, I don't like the idea of a total robo ump. I like the kind of human element back there, and I like, catchers, what they do, having it matter, not just sitting back there and catching the ball and it doesn't matter. But I think just that challenge system, if you get rung up on a bad pitch and you can challenge it, I think that's a pretty good start right there.
They're using it for the All-Star game in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Yesterday,
yep. No, I think
officially became,
Yeah, I think it's great, and I like that it's I think they limit it to 3 or something in wherever they have it in the minor leagues, and I think that's good too because you don't want every call challenged either. So I think I like that idea of what they're doing with that.
Brian, what is the goal for you this season?
Man, the goal is, my personal goal is to get back to affiliate ball for sure. Take one more shot at it and see what happens because since I left for Japan, I hadn't had that opportunity, even though my AAA numbers are very, very good. So personally, that's, in my career, that's really the last thing I'm looking for. But here, I want to win the championship. I love these guys in here. I think we got a great team, and I enjoy winning. Got to do it once in the American Association, and I'd love to do it here in the Atlantic League. And just pulling together as a team and grinding out games and the playoffs, man, it's just a lot of fun. So definitely want to win the championship.
Well, Brian, best of luck in your goal of winning the championship. Obviously, a long season left. You've reached base safely in all 32 games with the team, over an 1,100 OPS. Great start to the year. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Noah. I appreciate it, man.